What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. So the Star Wars Battlefront beta has been out for a couple of days now, and many of you have asked me to give you my opinion on it pretty much, because I put a couple of hours into it now, I think, and yeah, I'm pretty much, ready to kind of like do a mini review on it, I guess, and tell you what I thought of it so far. Couple of good things, couple of more negative things, I guess, that I, want to bring up about it. So I'm just gonna give you my full opinion on it, totally unbiased, and yeah, just tell you what I actually thought of, my experience playing the Battlefront beta. So I have to begin with something I and many of you will immediately notice upon playing it. It is what you see upon actually like joining your very first game, and that is what DICE always does very well with both now Battlefront and also with Battlefield, is the amazing presentation. What I mean by that is, of course, the graphics are top notch, the game plays in 60 frames on PS4, and I think on Xbox One as well, and on PC it's like, I don't know if it's 60 frames on PC or like an unlocked frame rate, but anyway, it plays super smooth. And just the presentation in itself, like the graphics, the way they try to replicate that Star Wars feeling into a video game. Now, I myself don't really care about Star Wars, I have to be very honest there with you, but that being said, looking at this right now, man, I wish DICE would make a game for a franchise I really love, because this is totally, I could just completely see this being being like a dream come true for, the typical Star Wars fan out there, because it just looks absolutely amazing. You play on this snow planet, right, and yeah, just look at the graphics and the gameplay, it will speak for itself. Game looks great, just like any DICE game does these days. There is also, of course, the sound quality, because with DICE games you always get this hectic sort of battlefield experience, right? You get 20 versus 20 battles in this game, and you just hear all these sound effects, the guns shooting at each other, from in the distance pretty much, and you hear it all, and you see these vehicles hovering over and stuff, and everything that's going on at one given time. It's just super incredible and massive, and it just really contributes to the feeling that you get when playing the game. It's an awesome feeling, and yeah, it's once again, it's something that DICE does so well with their games that, I don't need to even talk about it. The gameplay speaks for itself. They also have music playing in the background, which I really like, because in many multiplayer games these days, you just see that it's always super silent, until you fire a gun for once, you get a kill, that's it again, on to the next thing. Here you actually have music playing during the objectives and stuff, and I think that's a touch that once again contributes to that real Star Wars feeling, that authentic feeling you get when playing it, and it's just super fun. I feel like more multiplayer games should be giving you actually like music during your games. Then I'm gonna get into something that I experienced as a more negative thing, and that is actually, the gameplay, and that kind of makes me sound like the gameplay is bad. It's not. The gameplay is actually really, cool and smooth and great to play, but that being said, I feel like it's just, it's a little basic, I guess. It feels very much like you're playing Battlefield reskinned into this Star Wars thing, right? Where instead of actual soldiers, you now have stormtroopers fighting against the rebels. Yeah, once again, it's in you have two basic game modes in this game. One is a more sort of like team deathmatch mode, 8 versus 8 battles, where you have to capture these sort of pods, and the team that eventually captures the most pods at the end of like, 10 minutes or so, I guess, wins the game. But in the meantime, you're just shooting at each other, right? And you capture a pod by simply defending it from other people trying to capture it for themselves. So it does really feel like team deathmatch in that way, with one little objective thrown into it. The other mode is a 20 versus 20 mode, where you also are capturing pods, but at the same time you have these big AT-ATs, walking, that have to be destroyed. So the rebels' objective is to destroy them, while the stormtroopers are trying to keep them alive as long as possible. Now, the thing I noticed so much when playing this beta is that, first of all, the gameplay is not really as satisfying as your typical Battlefield game. If I'm shooting at these guys with my lasers, that impact I get when hitting them isn't really that satisfying. You don't really feel it. In Battlefield, you shoot your gun, it has this amazing sound effect, and the moment you hit an enemy, you feel it with the vibration of your controller and stuff. In Battlefront, I honestly just didn't have that too much, even though the gameplay is, fun to play, I guess, and it's very, you know, it's very smooth and direct. You hit an enemy, or you see you're hitting an enemy that you're actually hitting him. You know, there's nothing really wrong with it or anything like that. It is just that, yeah, it's very straightforward. Just point your gun at enemies, shoot at them, that's it. You don't really get anything from it. And the game tries to bring some variety by having these pickups. So, for example, you can pick up a turret, or the ability to control a vehicle, or be one of the heroes. But even there, it's like, you know, the moment you take control of Darth Vader, yeah, it's cool. You feel kind of overpowered in a way, and you know, you're just blocking enemy bullets for a short time, but you know, after that, like, you know, that's really all there is to it. You're blocking bullets and then you're hitting them with your sword, and there's not really much more than that to it, which is kind of the thing, is that the game honestly lacks a little bit of variety to me, if you'd ask me. It just feels like a simplistic, generic Battlefield game reskinned into Star Wars, and that is, you know, that is kind of the thing that I took away from it, which I honestly found to be a little bit of a disappointment, because with Battlefield I always noticed that variety, and here I didn't have that, where, you know, in the first couple of matches I was definitely enjoying myself, especially also because the presentation is that great and it really impresses you in the beginning, but afterwards, having played 5 matches or so, it kind of loses its fun factor and you feel like you're doing the same thing all over the place. One final, I guess, criticism I have also about the 20 versus 20 mode is that the maps are so open that I seriously feel like I'm being shot at from all over the place. You know, I'm spawning in a certain position, but at the same time there's enemies behind me, in front of me, to the left, to the right, and you're just looking all around you and seeing things happening, and it's just like, well, pick one of them, go shoot at them. And I've had plenty of times where I spawned and I was immediately being shot at, even if I spawned at what is supposed to be a safe place, not spawning on my body, because that is also possible in the game. No, I just you know, selected the normal spawn option, and I was being shot at from everywhere and immediately died. And that is kind of the thing. It's a really stripped down version of Battlefield for me, where it's also so open and stuff, and I feel like it kind of loses its charm after a couple of matches, and I have to be very honest there with you. But I hope the, you know, full game does bring some more variety to it. I hope it's gonna prove me wrong and DICE will actually fix a lot of the things, but honestly the game is already coming out in a month. I don't expect that. I don't think the Battlefield games, when they had that beta, were that different when they eventually came out. So, you know, I'm simply expecting the game to once again be a little bit of a stripped down version of Battlefield, and therefore I am not sure if I would really recommend this to people, because, you know, I feel like even though it's still a good game and there's not that many things wrong with it, I feel like, you know, Battlefield 4 just offers something more than that, you know. So in that way I am actually not sure if I'm getting it now. The game slightly disappointed me in that. I expected a little more from it, even though I do really love a couple of things, and especially the presentation is just absolutely incredible, and DICE, you know, does it better than anybody else. But that being said, I of course want to know from you what you thought of it. Did you have fun playing the Battlefront beta? Do you kind of agree with me about the lack of variety in there? And what eventually, you know, did you think of it? So let me know that in the comments, and for now I hope you still enjoyed my review, and then we're gonna see, you know, when the game comes out, how it actually will turn out, and if it's gonna be better than what, you know, at least gonna be better in the points of criticism that I did have towards the beta. So with that being said, thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and hope to see you again next time.